This is ACMi News, recognized nationwide as the first place winner of the 2022 Hometown Media Award for News Access.
On this holiday week, ACMi News looks back at the entertainment interviews in the year 2022, from stars on classic television shows, to stars at Arlington's historic Regent Theater, to entertainers who reigned in the golden age of television, Hollywood directors who now use modern technology to tell classic tales, even an actor who's a comedian, voiceover artist, really funny guy, and ace impressionist. ACMi News has it all in the next half hour. Happy holidays, everyone.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the 2022 nationwide award-winning ACMi News.
Hello and welcome to this very special holiday edition of ACMi News. I'm Eliseo Vigil.
And I'm Summer Maxwell. So glad you could join us. In 2022, we had the chance to talk to some amazing talents of stage and screen. Tonight, we begin with an amazing movie that's made its world premiere showing on Friday, October 28th at the historic Regent.
The film is called Being Robin, starring local entertainer Roger Kabler, a man who in the winter of 2014 felt possessed by the wild spirit of the late comedian and actor Robin Williams.
ACMi News caught up with Kabler just before showtime, and we can attest Kabler's act is unparalleled.
In the winter of 2014, I was convinced that I was possessed by the spirit of Robin Williams.
I can't eat at Domino's anymore.
Why?
Because it gives me pizzeria.
Being Robin is this movie that got created in the last 4 years out of a need for me to express what I was going through around Robin Williams' life, his work. I've been an impressionist since I was a kid, and he was always part of my act. And when he passed, he became a big part of my act. All of a sudden, I felt completely overwhelmed by him and the need to keep his work going. So I started doing a show. They let me do it here at the Regent. It's pretty loose. It's like Robin just explodes out of the top of my head and things happen. And then I decided, let's form this into a little film so that we'll capture this thing that I set out to do. And I'm sorry, what was the question? No. What I really wanted to do was, a little too much for Mr. Camera. What I really was just, stop, it's okay. Shh, what are you doing?
I've never seen anything like it. I was diagnosed with bipolar.
He lives through me. I really wanted to sort of bring people together around Robin and remember the fun stuff and how much joy he brought. And it's very healing. A lot of people hug me after the show, and because they're having feeling Robin in the room. But once you start to absorb them and understand how they tick, because I am also bipolar and I'm also a recovering addict, so I get it. I get that laughter and performing is a drug for me.
Well, interesting. When I'm interviewing Roger Kabler, you're standing still. You get into Robin Williams, and I'm doing this. I just want you to know. I don't know if you ever noticed that or not.
I guess we went through a little time warp together. And you're the reason that I came back. Because I love you. And I'll always be here. I'll always be here.
You really have no idea where Kabler starts and Robin Williams begins. If you missed the Regent show, you can go to Kabler's website, beingrobinthemovie.com. Again, that's beingrobinthemovie.com. And as always, for more information on other shows at the Regent, just go to their website, regenttheater.com.
From one impressionist to the godfather of them all, ACMi News had the opportunity to talk to an entertainment legend in 2022. Comedian and impersonator Rich Little, a master mimic of more than 200 voices, continues to impress generations with his touring schedule. throughout the US and Canada. And he told us about his experience working with legendary singer Dean Martin and Martin's highly rated comedy roasts, which were always jam-packed with A-list Hollywood stars, including one of the greatest celebrities of the silver screen, actor Jimmy Stewart.
Joining Dean Martin as he honors tonight's very special Man of the Hour, Jimmy Stewart. With tonight's guests, Rich Little, and your roastmaster, Dean Martin. With tonight's Man of the Hour, Jimmy Stewart.
He had a wonderful sense of humor, and he became a really good friend of mine. I got to know Jimmy Stewart probably better than anybody I impersonated. We did a lot of things together. We did the Julie Andrews show together, and we did the roasts, of course, together, and a couple other shows, and a lot of charity events. And he was wonderful. I remember one time we were at a charity event, and he must have written this himself because it was typical Jimmy Stewart. He said, "You know, I'm very fond of Rich Little. As a matter of fact, I'm so fond of him. I was thinking of adopting him." But Gloria, my wife Gloria, said, "No, Jim, no. Two people around the house going, what would be one too many? One too many."
It would drive her crazy. You actually were with Jimmy Stewart one time when you were teaching him to be Jimmy Stewart, and you had the audacity to tell him when he was done that was terrible, and you were going to have to show him again.
Yeah, that was on the Dean Martin roast. To Jimmy Stewart, where I tried to teach him how to imitate himself.
I don't want to brag or anything, but I've noticed lately that your Jimmy Stewart is just, well, it just isn't what it used to be, you know? It's slipping away. Now, would you stand up for a minute, Jim? Let me give you a few pointers here. Now, the first thing you got to do is put your hand out like this and just kind of shake it. That's good. That's good. Now, I want you to kind of look through the tops of your eyes and give it that. Like that? No, kind of squint them a little bit and bend over just a bit there. That's that. Now, I want you to say, "I feel terrible." How do you think we feel? We've been watching you for 30 years do this. That's good. That little nose thing was great. That gives you a little character there. Now, I want you to put the hand out, look through the tops of your eyes and say, "Wow." Just like that. Wow. Try it. Wow. No good. That's terrible. I mean, that is bad. Did you ever hear such a bad Jimmy Stewart in your life?
That's one of my favorite roasts.
You could tell it was an ad-lib moment, and both of you actually were truly enjoying yourself.
We ad-libbed that whole bit. That was not scripted.
You could tell.
That whole. And when you ad-lib on a show, you know you're sticking your neck out because you don't know where it's going to go. You know, and you're not doing anything that you've memorized. You're just winging it. And, got very lucky with that.
You know what, though? I'm sure when you were going through it, it's a lot of pressure. You're doing the Dean Martin roast, which was a highly rated television show with nothing but a pantheon of A-list stars on that show. This was no slouch of a show. That had to be a lot of pressure, but
I would say doing hosting the Tonight Show and doing the Dean Martin roast were the most pressure I've ever had in my life. Especially the Dean Martin roast, because not only were they so popular and had such a great viewing audience, but I'm working in front of the greats of Hollywood. I mean, to my right is, Jimmy Stewart and George Burns and Orson Welles and Lucille Ball. And then to the other side, there's just another group of superstars, So the pressure was really incredible on that show.
I think some of Jimmy Stewart's best moments on the screen, Westerns.
From the moment a girl gets to be full grown, the very first thing she
All right, hold it right there, mister. Hold it. Hold it. Now pay attention to this. You could learn something here. All right, now turn around real slow, like. Now keep your hands where I can see them. Keep them up there. Keep them up. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's fine. That's
Rich Little, it is a pleasure to meet you. I grew up with you. You're a very talented man. It's great you look great, and it's great to see you're still doing it and turning on new generations of people with your incredible talents.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right,
Good
Rich Little, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and maybe we'll talk to you down the road.
Okay.
All right, sir. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Little has also written a book about his storied career. If you're interested in purchasing Rich Little's book, People I've Known and Been, just go to his webpage, therichlittle.com. Again, that's richlittle.com.
Just before Halloween, ACMi News had the opportunity of interviewing Hollywood actress and producer Lee Purcell, and we took it. Miss Purcell has starred in movies with actors Michael Douglas, Charles Bronson, and Orson Welles. Purcell's directing a program using Zoom technology with the Hollywood radio players, recreating the great radio shows of yesteryear. And just in time for Halloween, Purcell's latest project was the classic radio show War of the Worlds, starring Orson Welles. A program that aired on Halloween 1938 scared radio listeners from coast to coast and changed the broadcast industry forever.
Yet across an immense ethereal gulf, minds that to our minds as ours to the beasts in the jungle,
intellects, vast, cool, and unsympathetic,
regarded this earth with the envious eyes and slowly and surely drew their plans against us.
Performing on Zoom is a whole different thing, and performing a classic radio show from 1938 is a whole other thing. And because I had worked with Orson long ago in a film called 5 different titles, but one of them is Necromancy. And so I wanted to do something as an homage to Orson, because I was directing this piece, so I got to choose what I wanted to do. So I chose the War of the Worlds, which I've always been fascinated by. And I wanted to do the original script from that 1938 broadcast. And so that's what we did. And to do it on Zoom, where you only see actors like you're seeing me right now from the, chest up, is particularly challenging.
Someone's crawling out of the hollow top. Someone or something. I can see peering out of the black hole 2 luminous discs.
the eyes, it might be a face, might be almost good heavens, something wriggling out of the shadow like a gray snake. Now it's another one, and another one, and another one. They look like tentacles to me. Oh, yeah, I can see the thing's body now. It's large as a bear.
But that face, ladies and gentlemen, it's indescribable. I can hardly force myself to keep looking at it. The eyes are black and gleam like a serpent. The mouth is V-shaped with saliva dripping from its rimless lips.
What we did was we took that show that we did on Zoom and we bookended it. Well, and the opening of that is an intro from Tom Bergeron.
And we are pleased to bring you the Hollywood Radio Players anthology series of classic radio plays from the golden age of radio.
We tweaked the show as much as we could and edited as best as we could, but we added, what makes it so unusual is we added a lot of special effects. Because we are radio that you can see, right? We had to search for videos from 1938 of those musical pieces, which we found with a great deal of trouble.
We now take you to the Meridian Room in the Hotel Park Plaza in downtown New York, where you'll be entertained by the music of Ramon Raquello and his orchestra.
So we did that, and it's posted on our website, HollywoodRadioPlayers.com. And there's a link there, and that will take you right to YouTube, which is where the show lives.
That grinning, glowing, globular invader of your living room is an inhabitant of the pumpkin patch, and if your doorbell rings and nobody's there,
That was no Martian. It's Halloween.
Tonight, the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations coast to coast has brought you The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, the 17th in its weekly series of dramatic broadcasts featuring Orson Welles and the Mercury.
This is truly a clever take on broadcast history. You could see Lee Purcell's War of the Worlds and other programs. Just go to her website, HollywoodRadioPlayers.com. Again, that's HollywoodRadioPlayers.com. And Lee wanted to wish all her family members in the Arlington area, and there are many, a very happy holiday season.
If you're a boomer or a Gen Xer, you'll likely remember her as Olivia Walton on the Emmy Award-winning series The Waltons, a show that aired from 1972 to 1981. Actress Michael Learned talked to ACMi News last month. She's back with a new TV series on Netflix that couldn't be any farther from The Waltons. A series that is both critically acclaimed and controversial. Dahmer, the new 10-part series about the notorious serial killer and cannibal Jeffrey Dahmer, is currently taking viewers by storm. And it's a far cry from the innocence of a TV show that changed Michael Learned's life more than 50 years ago.
All right, tell us about the Waltons. This was a game changer for you and your life.
Sure was. I went from the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco to suddenly becoming a household name, really. I remember the first Thanksgiving Day parade Ralph and I were in, in the old truck, and we both kind of looked at each other, and people are screaming and yelling, and we're just looking at each other. We're both stage actors, really. I think Ralph had done a couple of movies, but I hadn't done much television in this country. And we just couldn't get over it. It was kind of a shock and wonderful all at the same time.
And you were the lead actress in that series, and you got 3 Emmys. You garnered 3 Emmys from that show, correct?
I did. And they're in the Hollywood Museum right now. But they've been on my shelf in my study for many years. My first one I put in the garden because I was trying not to be smug. So I put it in the garden, and then I felt I was being disrespectful, so I cleaned it off and brought it inside.
Well, you certainly deserved it.
Eat it.
Well, you played a very nurturing character, obviously, in the Waltons. You played various roles on stage. This has to be a very different role for you in the Dahmer series. Being a very protective, loving, nurturing mother, and then being, I guess, a grandmother, and correct me if I'm wrong, in denial with a serial killer and someone who takes it to the next dark degree.
I have a grandson who's living with us at the moment while he goes to school. He wants to be a chef. And and before that, his sister lived with us for a while she was going to AMDA here, the drama school here. I can't put it together that if someone told me that my grandson was, doing terrible things behind my back, I couldn't process it. So I can understand how this woman could not want to know what was going on in her basement. That's the thing. If it were me, Michael, and there were smells coming up from my basement, I would go down and investigate. I wouldn't just say, what's going on down there? And he'd say, well, we're dissecting a raccoon. I couldn't think of the word dissecting, but I wouldn't buy it. I'd say, well, I'm gonna just check.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
This is a long way from goodbye. Good night, John Boy.
Kinda, yeah. But Grandma wasn't a bad person. She was just in denial. I'm grateful to David for writing a part that wasn't that had some depth to it.
Michael also told us that Hollywood should open the door for more senior roles in cinema, especially women. The Waltons are still in syndication 51 years later. And again, you can see Dahmer on Netflix.
All right, he's an award-winning actor, comedian, and an ace impressionist. Jim Meskimen just appeared in a highly successful TV series with Julia Roberts and Sean Penn called Gaslit, a drama based on Margaret Mitchell, the wife of Richard Nixon's Attorney General and ruthless campaign chairman, John Mitchell. Meskimen told us about Gaslit, his impeccable impersonations, and his very famous mother.
I'm a Swiss Army knife, because I do a lot of dramatic work, and like you said, I do impressions. I do Colonel Sanders' voice on the radio and television, and things for animation, and I stay very busy, and I find that's a good way to be.
Yeah, you played a number of roles. You played George Washington. You played Senator Gurney on, and I couldn't wait to see this series on Starz.
My mama slaps me harder than that.
I will ask you once again, did you at any point have any operational knowledge of the break-in at the Watergate complex?
If the American people knew half of what I do, they wouldn't have much to approve of.
Everyone did a great job in their roles. You as the senator, Sean Penn, I didn't even recognize him.
No, I didn't either. I worked with him, and he had to come up and introduce himself, and he said, "Hi, I'm Sean," and I said, "If you say so."
That's a tribute to the makeup people.
Yeah, great. Kazuhiro designed that. I knew him when he was just getting started in Hollywood on The Grinch, working for Rick Baker, and he's gone quite far on his own. He does incredible work.
What is your secret doing Christopher Walken? Because you do him perfectly. I've heard other people. I've heard Jay Moore do him.
Right.
I'm jealous I can't do him. I'm not even going to attempt it, but you have him down.
Thank you. I tell you, it's the fact that I really respect the way that he talks and the way he performs. He's a really terrific performer. He makes it his own. And as he's gotten older, he's been mellowed a bit. So, we sort of, the older these guys get, in a way, it's easier because they're more relaxed.
I'm jealous. And you do a great Robin Williams, too. But
oh, thank you. Very, very quick. You have to speed your brain up. That's the difficult part. At this point, this moment of the day, after I've just been to the dentist, it's kind of tough. It's fun. It's fun to imitate him. And I know that a lot of people have told me that they love to hear the Robin Williams beingness brought back because it sort of cheers us up to think that continues, that keeps going. And of course it does. Luckily, he left us with a body of work that is pretty immortal.
Yeah, thank God for that. Now, you said your mom is an actress. Some people may know, others may not. Your mother is Golden Globe nominated, Emmy nominated, Marion Ross, Mrs. C from Happy Days.
I'll handle this, Howard. You heard what I said. I understand about your curse and all that, and I know you are the Fonz with the hey and the whoa, but you are the best man, and you have an obligation.
She set a great example. I think it's important to set a good example to your children, and she definitely did. She set an example of creating the career, of going out and working hard, and making connections and doing plays and being industrious. And she set a tremendous example for me. So yeah, I treasure her. She just turned 94. She says hi. She loves you. She feels like she raised you.
That's the perfect mom.
Yeah, and we always get her a cake that says, in the last 4 or 5 years, now that she's 94, I think ever since she was 89, we get her a cake that says "Happy 80 effing 9" or 80, 90 effing 4, and it's always kind of a trick to get the guys at the cake store to put it on exactly right.
We appreciate your time, and do you want to take us out with Patrick Stewart? You have a great. I saw you on TikTok do Patrick Stewart. I'm thinking,
yes. Well, I tell you, I'd like nothing more than to be Patrick Stewart for just a moment with you. You've been a very gracious interviewer, and I'd be very happy to return anytime to comment on this and that, or just to stare blankly at you like some sort of Celtic mannequin.
That sounds good. You actually have the expression down too. It's not just the delivery; it's the whole 9 yards. It's the facial thing.
Well, luckily we both have the same variety of squinty eyes. So,
well, Jim Meskimen, thank you so much for joining us. And I know you were a little pressed for time today, and we certainly appreciate you carving a little time out for us. And I hope we keep in touch.
My pleasure. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
You can see Jim Meskimen and legendary actor Al Pacino in the original series Hunters, an espionage thriller set in 1977 New York City. Hunters is currently streaming on Amazon Prime.
That does it for this special holiday edition of ACMi News. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Summer Maxwell.
And I'm Eliseo Vigil. From all of us here at ACMi, best wishes for a very happy and safe new year. We're pretty confident there will be some stories happening in 2023, and ACMi News will be there.
We've got you covered. Happy holidays, everyone, and good night.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.